I spent about a year and a half wondering if I should get a divorce. The hardest question you will ever have to ask yourself is, do I want to work harder at this or do I want to walk away? Do you want to make it work? And if you do, does your partner also want to make it work? And it takes a willingness from two people. For me personally, the yearn for freedom was stronger than my yearn to make it work. My ex-husband was such a great man, which is what tortured me with my decision. But all I know is I just felt this yearning to explore myself without him. And I felt like where I was going in my life, he wasn't able to go with me. And this was a journey that I had to walk alone. But that period when I was unsure of what to do or if I should leave was agonizing. I was tortured. I was unwell. I was sick. I was scared. I was self-destructive. I had one foot in one life and one foot in another life, and I just was like walking back and forth trying to figure it out. Once you make a decision of what you're going to do, you can finally move. But until then, you are just stuck. So at some point, you just have to decide. But if you stay in something that you are not happy in, eventually you will self-destruct. I ended up cheating at the very end of my marriage because I did not want to disappoint him. I didn't know how to break his heart, and I just butchered the job. My big regret is that I wish that I would have been more upfront with him about the things I was feeling and sharing my truth, and that we would have gotten professional help earlier. At that time, I just didn't have the tools to navigate the situation that we were in. But I'll end this by saying, if you have a desire to go, you gotta go. That person that you're with deserves someone that wants to stay. And if you do want to stay and make it work, you deserve someone that wants to stay and make it work with you.
Oh man, where to start with this broad? So let me get this straight. She had a great husband. Typical. I thought, but I've been told so many times that women don't leave good men. I don't know where I got that idea from. So she had a great husband, but after a year and a half of thinking about it, she decided that her yearn for freedom, as she puts it, was stronger than her commitment. That's just modern womanese for I got bored and wanted out. And she's saying this like it's deep. And then there was this part. She said, where I was going in life, he wasn't able to go with me. You know, what? Where exactly were you going? Oh, dude. Because unless you were planning to become a nun or move to another planet or something, I don't know. This just sounds like another way of saying I wanted to see what else was out there. I wanted to go date other men. So, yeah, in that context, I guess he wouldn't be able to go with you to do that. So, I don't know. But let's like, what did she think he was stopping her from doing realistically? If not that, which I think it was, like, what was he stopping her from doing? Because, you know, if a man said this, people would call him very, very selfish. Imagine a guy leaving his wife because he felt like, well, she couldn't go where he was going in life. Men don't get to say stupid shit like that. People, women included, would tear him apart. 100%. And then comes the part where she tried to play the victim. I don't know where it was, but she's like, I didn't want to disappoint him, so I just butchered the job and I cheated on him. Yeah, so you cheated because you didn't want to be the bad guy. You know, instead of facing the reality that you were destroying your marriage and were dead set on ending it, you made it his problem by stepping out. That's not butchering the job. That is self-sabotage. And the best part is she still tries to frame it as, well, I just didn't know how to break his heart. I didn't want to break his heart. What? You didn't know how to break his heart, so you just cheated on him instead. You know, that would be like saying, I didn't know how to tell my boss I quit, so I just burned the building down. Kind of, it's like, oh, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's just, that's cowardice. That's cowardice. That's what that is. Then she hits us with the worst advice possible that is pretty much all over TikTok en masse, and they all listen to it. If you have a desire to go, you gotta go. Yeah, because nothing bad ever comes from simply making permanent decisions based off of temporary feelings. That's the advice. This is the advice people are getting. and giving? Seriously? This is exactly why so many women out here, so many modern women are ending up miserable, making bad decisions. They leave a stable marriage because they feel restless, thinking something better is waiting, only to realize that they just threw out one of the best things they ever had, threw away one of the best guys they ever had. Her words exactly. He was a great guy. My husband was a great man. And now here she is trying to justify it to herself and everyone else. And of course, right at the end, she says, I wish we got professional help earlier. Oh, now you wish you tried to fix it. After you cheated, after you left. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. But, the truth is, like, she didn't want to fix it. She never wanted to fix it. She wanted to evacuate. She wanted to leave. She wanted to hit eject. But she didn't want to say it to his face. So she acted out and she cheated and she chose cowardice. It's like, oh yeah. You didn't want to fix it. You wanted to chase freedom. You wanted to chase freedom without looking like the bad guy. And that's exactly why she's talking about this now, essentially, as they always do, to convince herself that she made the right decision here. I mean, this whole thing is just another example of modern women prioritizing freedom over, commitment, and then acting like it was some profound self-discovery instead of wrecking their home. And guess what? If this was really the right move, she probably wouldn't have had to make a whole video explaining why it was that. I don't know. Ridiculous. But typical. She cheated on him because she didn't want to break his heart. Wow, are you following that? It's probably the worst thing you could have done if you were concerned about breaking this man's heart. And it's just, marriage is about commitment. It's not about momentary feelings. And this is the problem with so many women like her out there. They all have this strong yearn for freedom when they get years deep into the marriage. And that yearn for freedom is always stronger than the yearn to make it work. And really, when these women say shit like that, I want to go find myself, I go explore myself. Translation, she wants to chase excitement and find herself on another man's penis instead of honoring the vows, instead of honoring her commitment. Every man out there alive needs to see this video. They need to see these videos because it's a complete contradiction to what so many other women will say and to justify why so many women are the ones initiating the divorces. And it's because, men are awful. Men are not emotionally competent. They're emotionally immature, whatever. They're not meeting the woman's needs. And it's interesting how women will say this shit. They'll say, the reason why women initiate divorce so often is because the man isn't holding up his side of the chores in the house and he's putting it all on the woman and making her do all this shit. But it's like women initiate most breakups, period. So even if the two aren't living together, these women still initiate breakups more than men. So that falls out. That logic doesn't hold up. They'll continue to say it's all because of domestic labor, household chores, whatever. The men are working and the women are expected to work and also work in the house. And that's why they initiate so many divorces. But again, like I just said, why do they initiate so many breakups? You can take a teenager from the youngest age of 14 and you take this teenager who's dating girls, you take a boy and a girl, and you can just look at it. The girls are going to be the ones initiating the breakups more than the boys because it's just how it is. And that continues all the way up until death, essentially. And it's just a fact of the world we live in that women are more flaky, they initiate more breakups, more divorces, and that's just the way it is. And it will always be deflected on men because that's a negative trait when it comes to women that they tend to split up relationships more than men, and anything that could be perceived as negative when it comes to women must be deflected and blamed on men, including their masculinity somehow. We see that constantly, but I'm going to end the video here before I keep going. If you enjoyed that, leave a like and a subscription. Check out some of the other videos on the channel, and I'll see you later.